How you feel?
Feel good.
What we talking about? Real shit or we talking about rhyme? You talking about millions or you talking about mine? What we talking about?
Yo, bust it! Look at you!
On the dance floor,
Look at you! Look at you!
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
When I was 18, I had my first brain surgery. It was really tough, but I moved forward. When I was 21, I had my second brain surgery. Again, also terrifying, but I was back in college in 10 days. When I was 23, I had a grand mal seizure, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy. When I was 25, my dad took his life. That one shattered me. But eventually, I picked up the pieces and I moved forward. When I was 29 completely broke me. I had my third and fourth brain surgery. My eye rolled inwards. I got complete paralysis on this side. I had a cerebral stroke and I lost all of my hearing. I am completely deaf. So I couldn't really see. I could barely walk, I couldn't really speak, and I definitely couldn't hear at all. And it was the first time I remember thinking, how much does a person have to go through? I can't do this. I'm done. And I stayed in that mindset for a really long time because I remember looking in the mirror and it was like this stranger looking back. I knew I wasn't moving forward, but I also knew it wasn't healthy staying exactly where I was. But one day it dawned on me, I couldn't stay in the same mindset that wasn't helping me heal. So I had to fix my focus. So I had to change, I can't do this till figure it out. And once you do that, that is so unbelievably powerful because you stop staring at doors that won't open and all of a sudden these windows do. Solutions. So I started working with some of the top deaf technology companies in the world. I went to studio therapy, I went to speech therapy, and I finally got back the life that I thought I had lost. So my advice to you, if you're struggling with something, stop saying, I can't do this, and start saying, I'll figure it out. Because once you do that, you're unstoppable.
The myth is that Lincoln freed the slaves, but Lincoln says in 1860 and 1861, it is a lie and a slander that we have any intention to abolish slavery in the slave colonies of the South, in the slave states of the South. This is just a lie, he says. So why does it happen? Well, it happens because, as W.E.B. Du Bois puts it in his great book, Black Reconstruction from 1935, the slaves took matters into their own hands. 500,000 of them fled from the South, withdrew their labor from the Confederacy, found their way to Union lines, and Lincoln's generals are going, what do we do with these people? What's our policy? And initially the policy was return them to their masters. But they refused to go back. They came in such numbers that this wasn't viable, and a few of the more radical Republican generals said, I'm not returning them. They were defying Lincoln, but they were defying Lincoln because enslaved people were forcing the issue. And ultimately, 200,000 of these self-emancipated black men find their way into the Union Army and Navy. Women serve as cooks and as spies. We often forget that the great Harriet Tubman, who had led a series of raids to free family members and then to free non-kin fugitives, was the most accomplished spy for the Union Army. Lincoln eventually provided a pass which said, Harriet Tubman can go wherever she wants, because the point is, she could provide intelligence to the Union Army that no one else could provide. So this was a movement of self-emancipation. Enslaved people forced emancipation on the Union, on President Lincoln, through their own militancy, their resistance, and their mass flight from the South. So yes, history starts to look very different. And once again, we see the withdrawal of the labor of 500,000 people, both crippled the Confederacy. That's a huge withdrawal of labor power, 500,000 people, and it was adding labor power to the Union military forces. And this is a reminder of where social power lies in our society.
And who are the agents of history?
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Hopefully everybody is in good spaces, good energy as we get into this new moon in Scorpio. Yeah, man, this is a very serious topic, a very serious conversation. So please put your thinking caps on. Take notes if you need to take notes, because in reference to the information is going to be a lot. And with that being said, sometimes people do not understand, right? If they don't take notes. So still doing a little bit of house cleaning at this particular point. All right. Hopefully I sound a little better. Let me get this off. Okay. New minute Scorpio. I got a lot to get to. Wrote it all out, so there'll be a constituting document associated with this, and another level to this conversation, a reason why your spirit and your soul had you tap into this video is because your spirit or your soul knows that you need to hear this information, knows that you need this particular understanding. And so if you know that you have a soul, if you know that there's a deeper level of wisdom that you're trying to reach, then this is the video for you. So without further ado, please like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So this is the chart for the new moon. I'll discuss it in a second, but just for posterity's sake, the new moon will occur in Sidereal Scorpio in the Anuradha Nakshatra. It will take place this evening. The planetary influences at this time suggest that your mind state, your emotional state, your attentions will characterize the next 30 days. So As you all know, if you do not set your own intentions, somebody else is setting those intentions for you. And 10 out of 10 times, you will not like those intentions that other people have set for you. So, at a deeper level, let's address the actual chart. As we see, there is a water sign grand trine that's taking place sidereally. And there is a lot of planets that are constituting the edges of said water sign grand trine. So on one side, you have the sun, moon, Lilith, and Mercury at an exact conjunction. So when we are looking at conjunctions, we are understanding the energy to be like chocolate milk. Now, chocolate milk is chocolate and milk, but when you put them together, they create a whole different concoction. And you can't never look at the chocolate milk and say, can I extract the chocolate from this milk so it can go back? I want my chocolate back, right? And I want my milk back. Well, once they come together, they create something completely new. So when you look at these four particular planets in reference to a new moon, your intention should be completely tapped into a complete new experience, an experience that you are unaware of. And so, throughout this presentation, I want to break down the layers of blockages between you and your experience and the positive emotions associated with your experience, mainly due to trauma, negative things, assaults, violence. All these things are negative, but at the same time, they don't require a present negative mindset. In reference to the present negative mindset, it is what you make it. But I understand that those layers are thick, especially on my people. On the other leg or the other side of the particular grand sign, water sign grand trine, we have Saturn, Neptune, and in the energy of Pisces. So the first deacon of Pisces is really about is pointing out where you are lazy at in a spiritual sense. And this is a very long transit when you think of Saturn and Neptune. So when you think of a long transit, you're also thinking of things that you really have to work on. Like there are some things that we can easily eliminate out of our lives. But when we talk about emotions, we are talking about the things that really get to us at a deep emotional level. And the work that we should really be trying to do is to get out of said emotions, because the deeper reality of our negative emotional space is that it's all illusionary. And I guess another aspect of that is that you can create your emotional disposition simply a lot of times by doing the work, right? Because when you look at Mars in Scorpio, it's not conjunct the new moon, but it is residing in the energy. So your ability to act in this profound way, what is this profound way? To act from a new beginning. Like I'm gonna continue working through the science of being rich chapter by chapter, long form book review, because I've only went through two chapters and I've noticed a considerable shift in my financial outlook and my financial energy. So that inspires me to go deeper. So it's one thing to say I want to be rich, but a whole nother thing to go in depth with the metaphysical steps. Because when we understand the metaphysical, which is associated with the emotional, it creates the mental, it creates the actions, right? You very rarely see negative people do positive things. A hallmark of a negative person is their negative actions or their lack of willingness to do the work necessary that taps into their desire. So I guess desire is not a bad thing only when you're not putting any relatable action associated with said desire. And when we are knee deep into this Scorpio energy, we have to really be aware of the fact that it is nothing wrong for us to want what we want. But if we don't put any action to what we want, then we're delusional, hallucinating, and things of that nature. So the bottom of the water sign grand trine that is going to be allowing us to really encapsulate this new moon energy is the deepest love that motivates us, right? Even explaining Anuradha Nakshatra, which we're going to get really deep into because Anuradha is the head of Scorpio, and there are so many synchronicities to this new moon that I'm about to lay out that anybody that's going through negative energy, I promise you, is not the end of the world. I promise you that it is a perfectly well thought out explanation, but that does not negate your responsibility to do spiritual work. In the way that technology advances, we as a human race imagine that our spiritual development is supposed to advance like technology. Like, do you got the meditation 17 plus? Because I pay extra for this meditation. I pay a sensei master to meditate for me, so I no longer have to meditate. I got AI to meditate for me. Chat GPT, what visions did I receive in my meditations this week? Would you like me to put that in a 16 by 9 profile picture so you can share it on Facebook? Yeah. These are our visions that I experienced when I typed it into Chat GPT. We think that that shit work like that. In reality, man, I've been doing this shit and I'm not necessarily proud of myself. I don't know the word to describe the feeling that I feel with being consistent in spiritual development. I don't know, because it's not related to my ego. It's a part of me that's like, damn, people actually was from, like, y'all know, y'all lost your mind from 2020 to 2025. Ones in the chat lost it. And then and it's crazy. We was in the midst of a cycle and people lost their mind. And it was kind of like, damn, I was really going through a lot not too long ago in reference to everything that I was doing. I felt so gaslighted by myself to like, damn. And then I realized that I haven't really even been doing no work for real. I got caught up in the mundane for real. And I had to humble myself, bro, to go back into the things that matter to me the most. And I had to really challenge my mind and my heart to say, is this shit even real? Is this shit even worth it? The answer that I'm at right now is unequivocally yes. Because the depth of a 9-year where you have to go through the review, and it was parts of me that didn't truly believe, because it was parts of me that didn't ever even do the work. And it was parts of me that felt like, oh yeah, I know everything that there is to know. Like, my experience is set in stone. And then I had to like really get into the fact, like, damn, yeah, I was like 40. That was kicking my ass too. Cause I'm like, damn, I'm 40 years old. I'm 40 years old. I really feel like I'm 16, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there, mentally, emotionally. It's like, go to the gym, give me a nice dinner, you know, get some damn money. I've been on this same shit for a long time. So I'm just like going through a lot, but then it's like the science. I had to get back to my old work, like going through the 9 year. And then when I reapproach spirituality, if y'all will like watch the videos where I have a blue background, that's the shift for me. That's when I said, I'm not about to do no videos without going deep into the shit, right? So those videos is 3 hours long. You know what I'm saying? Because I realize oversimplification is not simplification at all. You can't oversimplify getting a college degree. Because if you say I oversimplified my doctorate, I don't know what a clavicle is. Yeah, I don't know what artery that is. I got an oversimplified degree. It was just, is the human body real? And I checked, yes, they gave me a degree. It was oversimplified. I paid $3,000 for this woman's course. And the fact that I paid $3,000 was her indication that education was her kissing my ass and telling me that I'm great. And I got a certificate and a degree. I got it framed and put on my wall. That's an oversimplification of spirituality, because the work required, back to that feeling that I was experiencing, the work required is the consistency in finding yourself. And finding yourself this is something that I've brought to the forefront. We have yet to collectively get there, right? Finding yourself is an emotional vibration that predates the physical, meaning that you have to feel God first before God manifests. The feeling is the manifestation, because all of this shit could be completely make-believe. And you wouldn't know until you practice the feeling of. And I promise you, the feeling of being in love creates the energy and the mentality and the physicality of actually being in love. But nobody teaches energy that way, because in reference to teaching you the proper way of creation, none of us would be slaves. And in order for this matrix to exist, we have to exist in the working class. So what happens when you lose a job? What happens when you lose a job? You think, damn, I need to get another job ASAP. And guess what you do? You manifest yourself another job. And when you in that job, your job is not, you're not there to support your side hustle, to support your business. You in there to support your lifestyle. But you have created this from your mind. And there's nothing wrong with a job, because a job is necessary if you got hopes and dreams, because you need to invest capital into your hopes and dreams. Nothing don't necessarily come out of something don't necessarily come out of nothing. A lot of times you got to plant the seed. And you have to be specific about what seed you are creating. So that is a long way of saying, in reference to this new moon, what I hope that you get from this video is hope as an intention. It might not seem like a lot to have hope and faith as an intention, but it sure beats a negative mentality. As if that negative mentality, you are a spiritual being that cannot shake that negative mentality, whatever envy, shame, guilt, rage, doubt, disappointment that you have enveloped yourself in, and using it as a fucking armor to trek through the world. One says, release that armor. One says, let them boundaries go and develop the pure energy of hope and faith. And I hope that a metaphysical, educational exploration in these particular modalities that have been left from our ancestors Because there is no Roman nothing, there is no Greek nothing. These are interpretations of Egyptian mythos. This is the root, pure root of all of astrology. Rome did not exist when we were discussing these particular topics, okay? Greece did not exist when we were discussing these particular topics. Egypt did not exist when we were discussing these particular topics. We are builders, but we are builders from a metaphysical level. You do more building in your sleep than you do in your waking consciousness. But do you intend in your waking consciousness based upon the things that you are studying and immersing yourself in? So and I can only speak for myself, and I'll move on. We do it to ourselves, or I did it to myself when I was possessed by negative thoughts, doubt, and fear, because I didn't understand the Scorpio mythos associated with negative energy. All right, so let's get into the actual factuals. So as you can see, we have a consolidation. I can't really zoom in, but that's not necessary to zoom in. We have a consolidation of energy. We have the sun conjunct the moon, conjunct Mercury. We also have the energetic calculation known as Lilith conjunct the same entire energy. And this particular energy is 3 degrees Scorpio, right? 3 degrees Scorpio is specific to the debilitating point within the particular astrology, meaning that this is the lowest point. This is the lowest point that the moon can go and will go throughout the astrological precession in a 360-degree precession around the ecliptic. The lowest point is 3 degrees of Scorpio. So the question then is, why in the hell do we have a new moon on this exact point? Because humans are not in control of the precessions of the equinox. This is a 9-year, and now we have a new moon, right? New, nova, novum, novella. 9 and new are associated in reference to the same energy. Why is a 9 associated with new? Because the 9 begets the 1. So Scorpio is related to sexual energy, sexual reproductive energy. It takes 9 months for us to come into creation. And now we are a newborn. So when we are looking at this particular energy, we have seen it many times in many of different mythos, but we can consolidate it and relate it to our personal experience because that is the ways of the information. These stories were not meant for you to read them in a book and say, "Oh, that's interesting. Jesus got baptized by John the Baptist. That's interesting for him." No, these stories are for you to understand the process of debilitation. In a 2-dimensional world, y'all, debilitation is a bad thing. You are going down like Mary J. Blige. But in a 4-dimensional reality, where we begin to understand things from a holistic perspective, going down is getting closer to God. Because my last new moon in Virgo, I was a little out of touch with the actual condensation of information a lot of times, but I was going to present it anyway because I'm a loyal follower of the truth. So I speak the truth, even if I know it's the truth. I just don't know what's the reason for the truth. So it's this particular story, basically Cain and Abel, where this particular energy is trying to reach the sun. And when you get to the sun burns you and sends you right back to the earth. So what this is saying is the higher you go, and you know, if you actually was to scale a mountain, right, that's where most people die at. Mount Everest is people that die that you can't be like, damn, if you die at Mount Everest, you can't even have a proper funeral because ain't nobody coming up there to save you. The higher you go, you further away from God. The deeper you go, you closer to God. But the way that the mentality is, iPhone is not going to come out with an iPhone 0 again. They're going to come out with the iPhone 18. And they're going to create this within the mind. I just use them as an example of how we consistently are looking for more and more and more and more and more and more. And that's not even the bad part. We don't even know how to conceptualize the debilitating point. We can't even be like, yay, I'm falling. I'm getting closer to God. I know I can't because I'm trying to ascend. I'm trying to get to the next level. And I'm like, man, I'm deep spiritual. Why isn't things working out the way I want them to work out? Why am I going into my savings right now? Maybe I'm just talking to myself. Y'all didn't have to go into y'all savings in 2025. Y'all kept ascending. It's like, yeah, you're going to read about the 9-year, Kyrie, but you're not going to experience the 9-year. Fuck that. I definitely did experience it. I definitely did close some chapters, emotional chapters. I've done this before. I done had my heart broke before, but I closed the chapter years ago. That shit didn't bother me no more. But see, this relationship, this was kind of close to my ego, right? I had a vision for this relationship. Yeah, close the chapter. Fuck your vision, nigga. Get closer to God. You're going to learn the older you get, people are not sent to save you. You are going to have to save yourself. And how do you save yourself? They can take everything away from you, but they can't take your connection to God. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they say, oh yeah, you were saving for this for 10 years. Oh, you was trying to build your credit? You was trying to build your credit. Ain't that sweet? Here go this $50,000 debt that you can use your credit to pay for so you can fuck your credit back up. Yeah. That's going to really stress you out. Sure is. You was trying to be such a good boy too, wasn't you? Because when you get so high on the lamb, you forget about God. I think it's almost natural. I think it's no escaping that shit. I think a lot of times you're going to have to simulate this shit in order to get your energy balance. Meaning that when you up, you might bum it. When you got your credit together and an emergency come, you like, damn, that's fucked up. I wish I had some money to help you. I'm fucked up for real, bro. I ain't got it. So when you go through debilitation times, you will have reserves because look, it's going to be a debilitation point in your life because you are a spiritual being and we have to break down the science, right? I don't want to get too ahead of myself. In Vedic astrology, debilitation refers to a condition where a planet is considered to be at its weakest or least effective state. So we're talking about the moon, we're talking about our mind, we're talking about our hopes, our dreams, our sleep, our ability to believe and have faith and trust in something at this particular point collectively. And once again, it's always somebody on the chat, not me good. My life been actually going perfect in 2025. I don't even feel the effects of the economy. Plus, I saved like 12 babies today, hood. I'm on top of my shit. I don't even really need this knowledge. I'm going so well in life that I'm going past the level of trying to teach the people and trying to help people. I just stay isolated in my own little bubble and I don't fuck with people because people are bad, hood. I don't know why you get up on here and try to help people on a daily basis. You don't get no money from it. You don't get no money from it, hood. And I'm doing so much better because I don't try to help people. I mean, it's simple. It's really simple to be successful, right? Just stop giving a fuck about people and be selfish, right? You'll be perfectly fine. I guarantee you will have more money, you will have more freedom, you will have more peace. But when we start executing the ways of metaphysics and Jupiter and Cancer and the expansion through love, I mean, self-love, we understand that. But how do you expand on self-love? You love yourself and you just gonna love yourself more? That's what the world calls for, you to love yourself? I get it. People are difficult. Kids are difficult. Relationships are difficult. But with all that being said, your ass wouldn't even be brought into existence. And sometimes, hood, I wish I never even been brought into existence because I'm in a debilitated, weak state, hood. I'm in a vulnerable position. I don't have nobody to defend me. I don't have no resources. Don't nobody love me. It's just me. I'm at a low point, hood. Well, that means you're closer to God. Are you going to acknowledge it? I can't acknowledge it because I want to hold on to this negativity. My boyfriend, he did something bad to me last week, hood. I want to talk about that. I got broke up before and I'm single now. I want to talk about that. I don't got no money right now. I want to talk about that. I want to be possessed by my negative circumstances and experiences. I want to talk about it. I want to immerse myself in it. I want to live in it. I want to create from that space, hood. Well, you can't. Because from a 4-dimensional space, the debilitation spot of the chart, the moon debilitation sign in Scorpio, its deep debilitation degree, the deepest that it can go is right now. You know what this means? In a 9-year, at the deep debilitation point, you have experienced everything that your soul could possibly take. And you still here. Consciously, you here. Some of you can't walk and shit like that. I mean, I get it, you know, but for a lot of y'all still got y'all 10 fingers, y'all 10 toes, y'all still got y'all mind, y'all still got y'all good looks. And you are at the lowest point that you can possibly go. The point of this is a universal checks and balance, meaning that you can't get no lower, meaning that you can only ascend from this point. This is not something that I'm making up. The alignment is there, and it is okay. I don't make up the years. I don't make up the science. I just follow it and understand it and try to share it so we all can come to a common ground of understanding. So getting into the science of ascension is very interesting. I'm trying to click the wrong screen. So to ascend is simple, to move upward, to climb up a mountain, to climb over the horizon, right? It's like, okay, to ascend is a normal, like it makes sense, right? But then ascension is the ascent of Christ from earth into heaven in the presence of his disciples on the 40th day after the resurrection. So, ascension is a metaphysical aspect in reference to a rebirth. Now, a rebirth is the same thing as a new moon. It is when the sun and the moon conjunct, and that creates another 28-day cycle for you. Your life is up to you. But sometimes you get tired with the consistency of maintaining a proper schedule. That's Saturn and Pisces. The consistency necessary for you to stay on top of your spiritual development is just what it is. It's certain non-negotiables in this shit. Because it's easy. When you relinquish, when you let your hands off the wheels, no matter if you done drove through Baltimore, downtown Baltimore, and you like, I'm traumatized. One's in the chat. I'm traumatized. I can never do that again. I'm gonna just, Lord, take the wheel. You going to drive off that goddamn bridge. You're going to drive off that goddamn bridge. So therefore, no matter what you've been through, even if you done drove through downtown Baltimore and you missed the turn, so you had to jump back on them weird ass one way and then you don't even want to get out the car to get what you need to get, because it's a zombie apocalypse. So nothing is going to relinquish the fact that you need to be in tune with yourself. So Anuradha, it teaches us that on a yearly basis, right? Every time we have a new moon in Anuradha, we are here to remember. So Anuradha is known as the star of success. The planet that rules Anuradha is Nakshatra, the planet of discipline, right? The deity is Mitra. So the constellation, Anuradha is known as the constellation of success. So picture an upward moving creature or creeper of the stars at the start of Scorpio. So when you look at Anuradha, I'm going to just try to zoom in as much as I can. When you look at Anuradha, this red star, meaning a crab as the fixed star, the head of Scorpio, is where Anuradha starts. And this is exactly where the new moon is at. So the themes associated with Anuradha are valid in reference to the intentions that one is setting out for themselves. So high standard of excellence and perfectionism is a real key concept. The reason why it's a real key concept, because we're working from a metaphysical position. And the things that they do for Black people in this perspective is truly fuck them up. Because in reference to who we truly are, this standard of excellence and perfectionism is in reference to our soul. It is in reference to who we truly are. And if we're not told who we truly are, we're told what people want us to think about ourselves. And the fucked up part about it, we live in a society that has a boule. A boule is an institute that is part of who we truly are, that knows who we truly are, that doesn't want the majority to know who they truly are. So these people work every single day. In every African American studies class is somebody that look like you telling you what you are not. We was a slave, we was bought here, and these niggas will protest, will march on goddamn Washington just so you don't know who you are. I'm a Christian. I came here as a slave. My ancestors was a slave. They stripped me of all my history. There's no way I can know who I am. So once again, Anuradha is in reference to Scorpio. Scorpio is in reference to the sexual organs. So let's not be confused about this shit. Many of us have sold out for our 9 to 5s, our career. What the money that we making. When it comes to our intimate relationships, there is no sensitivity, no compassion, and no friendship. There is only anger, expectations, disappointment. So the alchemy is in how we choose to deal with each other. Selfless service, great empathy. The negative aspects of an Anuradha nakshatra is an oversized ego, which you use as a defense mechanism because you've been through negative things. And you're trying to prevent yourself from going through negative things. So the materialism is like a buffer between you and negativity. But you got to also understand, the more you buffer yourself from negativity, the more you buffer yourself from debilitation, is the more that you don't get closer to God. Wrathful and ungraceful in defeat. So the inability to digest defeat and negativity because you are afraid to get closer to yourself. See, the soul is not attached to the world in no way, shape, or form. So this is why I say you got to fake it to make it. And a lot of times people think that you got to be fake. No, you got to act like you got a relationship with the soul, even when you don't have a relationship with the soul, in a way to bypass all of the negativity and all of the blockages between you and your soul. Is a positive emotion. It is an assumption of victory. It is an assumption of a wisdom or a lesson learned, right? This creeper represents Anuradha, embodying love, devotion, and passion that inspires and motivates our actions. So if you are living a life where you single, ready to mingle, doing whatever you want to do, what are you motivated by? What is inspiring you? Because it can't be the cop carousel. It can't be pussy on a platter. They bring the pussy out to you with one of them silver domes and they pull the dome off and it's a different piece of pussy and you sampling it like, this pussy tastes a little salty, right? And then you go to the same restaurant and you try some different pussy. That can never be a long-term inspiration or motivation. Because the astrology is very simple, and the curation of your life and your life goals is to understand love, devotion, and passion. This is the problem with us. Well, I've had my heart broken in the past. I really don't like men. I really don't like women. This shit, I don't like dealing with this type of shit. All y'all want to talk about is relationship. I want to deal with that. I just want to be alone and understand spirituality. Well, you can't do shadow work alone. You got to understand your projections. And if ain't nobody around you to project on, you just going to do what is called escapism. Auntie is on a cruise ship. Auntie done went on another vacation. Auntie done went on a different trip to a different country, a different state. Auntie is enjoying the life in the world. However, it seems that we have lost touch with these qualities. Compassion, tenderness, romance, and the desire to give and receive affection may feel diminished. A potential drawback to this energy could be heartbreak, disappointment, or fear-based decision-making. It's important to remember that wisdom comes from learning lessons, not from everything being perfect. And within this encapsulation is the purpose of debilitation. The fact of debilitation and experiencing debilitation is that you know for a fact that wisdom comes from learning lessons. Because there's been points in times where you was on a high horse and you didn't learn shit. You was just more paranoid. Like, I hope I stay on this high horse. Lord forbid I fall off this high horse. I'm gonna be embarrassed. People gonna be like, "Why you ain't on this high horse no more?" It's like, yeah, I don't even know how I got up on that motherfucker. I just found myself on there one day, and now I'm off of it, and I don't know how to get back up. So once again, learning lessons creates wisdom. So being in a debilitated state is not a bad perspective. From a four-dimensional perspective, it's a greater perspective because you are closer to God. The issue is when you surround it in material things, and now your whole world is based upon securing and procuring and keeping your material things at harness level. And the world is trying to pull this shit away from you. And you like, no, give it back. Give it back. Yeah, you up on that high horse. But you don't gain wisdom for fighting for what you don't even really need. And trust me, I'm not the person that have it or don't have it. So, and I know, you know what I'm saying, if you snatch a pillow, your pillow 10 feet up in the air, and somebody snatch that pillow down, that's a long way down to the ground, and it's gonna hurt when your head hit that goddamn concrete. But you acting like the concrete ain't there because you keep buying extra pillows. I swear it's wisdom in this. You just gotta listen. So once again, this is a case for getting close to God. Scorpio at 3 degrees, the moon being at its lowest, most weakest state, is another reason for you not to think as much, but to be closer to God. And I want to just simply read what I said about it. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If y'all enjoying the content, go ahead, put a 1 in the chat. Make sure that we engage, we're on the same page, and we're growing in the knowledge. Because when I got this information, I tell you, my kids had to eat lunch at 11:30, and I sat down in front of the computer. It was 10:59, and I just was listening. And I'm gonna tell y'all, Prince is cold, man. He got these instrumentals where he ain't singing. He just basically he a composer. So I sat and I listened to those Prince instrumentals on YouTube, and it just in the middle, I'm like, man, I'm receiving this information. This information not even coming from me. Because I didn't have this concept of, I never fully understood what they meant when they said this sign is debilitated or exalted. Like, I kind of get it, but I'm like, man, fuck all that. We gonna make it regardless type shit. You know what I'm saying? But in reference to the particular energy of the moon being in debilitated at its lowest point, I felt that. But in reference to y'all who have always supported me, have always booked readings, have always bought products, like y'all always have supported me throughout all of this, all of my ups and downs and all of that. I'm always getting supported. So I be feeling like I can't give up, because that'll look crazy if I'm just like, yeah, man, fuck this spiritual shit, bro. I'm about to, you know what I'm saying, become a welder. Like, ain't nothing wrong with being a welder. Ain't nothing wrong with being a tradesman. And I would still be a tradesman, and I would still do this shit. Because I still do shit, but I make time for my spiritual development. And so with all of that being said, the lesson of this particular energy really came clear to me. And I just want to just read what I wrote. So Anuradha also represent a point where we feel close to God and distant from the material world. Many people perceive this as darkness or negativity, which is why Scorpio has a negative reputation. This is a two-dimensional perspective. In reality, we live in a multidimensional world and are multidimensional beings. In moments of self-discovery, it is crucial to forgive yourself for what you did not know and to open yourself to the unknown truths about yourself. This is where you are closest to God, and knowledge and wisdom will inevitably lead to ascension. So you don't have to get off the horse all the time. But sometimes when you're on that high horse and you don't even know how high you can get or how low you can fall, sometimes shit happens. And when shit happens, you shouldn't, and I know it's easier said than done, you shouldn't look at it as if you are being failed. You should look at it as, what is the lesson that I'm learning? Because if you look at it as in, this is the lesson that I'm learning, and I'm going to learn this lesson, I'm going to gain this wisdom. That's the way that it goes. And so, one's in the chat if you ever seen this scene, and one's in the chat if you can hear it.
Are you gay?
How you gonna ask me a question like that?
How do you marry a woman and then turn around and let a man bend you over?
Ain't nobody bending me over.
Oh, so you doing the bending? Is that what it is?
I don't wake up holding another man, walking down the street holding some man's hands. That's gay, okay? That ain't me.
You're saying a lot, Carl. You're saying a lot without saying nothing at all.
And so I was like I said, I was just writing, and this came to my mind because it's like, we can bend, but we don't always be breaking all the time. Right? But some of y'all been bending. Some of y'all been bending a little too much, right? It's like y'all goddamn having babies and shit like that. Y'all been bending over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in reference to Scorpio, which rules the sexual organs, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you just be bending. It's like you like the cliche is like, I bend but I don't break. But y'all be righteously bending over, and it's like, all right, when you gonna stop bending over? Because you know what I'm saying, we know you're not gonna break, but you know what I'm saying, we gotta start ascending. You got, you know what I'm saying, like stop bending so much, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like get to know somebody, right? Scorpio rules the sexual organs. And I think that with this being said, we are also understanding friendship. We are also understanding relationships. Because think about a relationship, right? I always thought about this in relationships. Like, damn, we have so many opportunities to do great shit, but we always feel in a certain type of way towards one another. We always beefed out and fighting and arguing and things, not having expectations and who going to pay for the dinner and how much money you make and all these particular things. And it's like, I'm very grateful that I have somebody in my life that I feel like we exist on a friend level. And not to say, and I'm not saying like, if I catch her cheating, I'll be like, oh, you cool, we still cool, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not saying that, but I'm also saying like, while we in a relationship, we exist on a friendly level, right? And I never really fully had that, but I'm saying that to say, it's good to be in a relationship where you support it. So in reference to bending or doing the bending, like that's really an analogy for how you showing up in your relationship. Like, are you showing up in your relationship with expectations? Are y'all showing up in your relationship with deep psychological wounds that you haven't really administered to? You just hoping that the external is going to balance out the internal. And I swear that is one of the darkest places you could ever find yourself in. Because if you know you haven't done the work and you know you still broken for real, or you know you're not ready for a relationship, then it's only going to attract and bring in energy that you don't want or you don't like. And so a lot of times people think relationships have advanced because they can get on social media apps, right? Or dating apps, and they can like break the rules of your daily life experience based upon the projection that you send in online. And of course, it'll bring more people into your vicinity. But at the end of the day, how this shit is panning out, these casual hookups, these wasting of sexual energy is not the way to go. I've been in the spiritual community long enough to hear about people being so free with their sexual experiences. I'm a goddess, I'm a god, and I can have multiple this and multiple that, and I'm free to spread my sexual energy, breathing in spiritual energy with, feminism and misogyny and sexual deviancy. I feel like a lot of times spirituality have lost the plot. So when you incorporate friendship or unions or marriages, I think that is a real live safeguard. For your spiritual development in reference to the shadow work and your projections and allowing to see yourself and to grow. It's harder to do these things alone. It's damn near impossible because in reference to your projections, you don't have a screen to project on, right? And it's it's hard for an individual to fully know themselves without somebody being around them. But if you don't allow people to get close to you because of this world, that means you operating in the advanced technology section of life. So you in relationship 17 Pro Max, right? The upgrades. And therefore you to the sun with your relationship shit. But a lot of times you got to get pulled down to earth and get down to the fundamentals and the foundations. Because I'm telling you, in reference to magnetizing that person that you truly want, is an inside game. The tension is released when you start doing the work on yourself and stop fooling yourself and stop kidding yourself in the fact that you're not doing no work. And maybe you are attractive, or maybe you know how to finesse a dating app or two, right? You know how to take a good picture from an angle, and them niggas just be going crazy like, oh, what's your name? I want to get to know you. And you put yourself in these particular situations, you know how to glam up, get glam on a nigga, and the nigga be starstruck like, oh man, you so beautiful. And you living off this particular male validation. That's not the way of Scorpio, right? So Mitra is an ancient Vedic god of friendships, pacts, and alliances. Being associated with Anuradha, being associated with Scorpio, these friendships, pacts, or alliances are not niggas that you start an LLC with. Yeah, it said friendship, pacts, and alliances. So me and my homies, we gonna start a business. And it's like, brother, man, hey, like, I get it. That's your friend, and y'all starting a business. But we are not in the 10th house yet. And we're going to talk about it when we have a new moon in Capricorn, and we're going to talk about it in a different way with different energies. But a lot of modern human beings think that if they can be successful financially, that is going to overcompensate for them not being able to exist in a world of relationships. And I'll tell you what, I see couples taking the bus all the time. I see couples living in poverty all the time, and I'm not championing that shit, but I'm saying it don't take money to be in a relationship. It don't take a college degree. Do you know that 92% of women that file a divorce have got a college degree? So you be so smart, but you can't exist in this world of Scorpio. Because we talking about love and compassion and devotion. And you like, hood, fuck these niggas. I don't give a fuck about these niggas, hood. I done been in countless broken relationships. Why would I give a fuck about a nigga? And I said, in the beginning was the word. So we coming at this shit from a blank slate. We not factoring in the past when we're creating our future. What does your soul say? Yeah, I do wish to be in love and, have a strong alliance with somebody, but I'm just so hurt and I'm so broken. All right, let's start there. Let's start forgiving yourself. Because at this particular point, it's a cosmic blank slate. And the word Mitra is Sanskrit, means friend, and he is seen as a guardian of human covenants and social order, symbolizing harmony and cooperation between both among humans and gods. So a lot of times when we're looking at the ways for which it's going to play out, we're not even in control of that. We're not even in control of that. So when we are going into this thing with a blank slate, because y'all niggas can't fuck with me on that shit. Y'all want to talk about the past, and I'm like, it's a new moon. I don't give a fuck about. I don't give a like. I already closed. We have reached a conclusion. Yesterday, that waning crescent moon at the precipice where it enters into a new moon. Hey, once that happens and we enter into a new moon, the baby is not going back into the belly. That baby is born. We're doing the birth chart. 11/20 is a new moon. It's a new baby. Well, in the womb, I couldn't hear. It don't matter what was happening in the womb. I really didn't like how you were smoking on them cigarettes, but hey, you out the womb now. You don't got to worry about it. You get your own food. You got your own life. But I really want to be talking about how my mom was when I was in the womb. That really affected me. Hey, it's deep, but you're going to get to a point where you ain't even going to remember being in the womb. Yeah, but I got a past life regression that I paid for $1,000 and it said in the womb I had trauma. That's why I can't attract a good manhood. Listen, that's bullshit. You going to believe in the past in some shit that we can't even see. You can't even qualify that shit. You ain't even recorded on your iPhone. We don't even have no digital proof, no digital footprint. And even if you did, you could delete it. And then you can delete it out your trash. It could be gone forever. You could delete it off the iCloud. This is real. The ways for which spirituality presents itself is that the trees will lose all of its leaves. And those trees will come right the fuck back. But it got to get rid of all of the leaves, though. You'll never see a tree with a patch of leaves just like, we gonna stay here all winter because that was fucked up what happened last winter. He just kicked us off, hood. Just kicked us off. No, fuck that. Fuck that. We staying on the tree, hood. Man, if you don't get your ass up off this tree, I will see you next spring. So we're understanding cycles in a very intrinsic, spiritual way. And there is no way y'all gonna bring y'all fucking baby daddies into the conversation. I will not allow it. I don't give a fuck. I'm reading through all the mythology. It don't never mention your baby mama being a bitch. It don't ever mention that. Well, Dharma, except if your baby mama slash your tires and bust your windows and you ain't have no insurance, so you had to pay out of pocket. Dharma, accept that. So now, because all of these things have happened, you could go and fucking go crash out and do 5 years in jail for domestic disturbance and shit. Let it all go. It does not fucking. We're having a spiritual conversation. We're having an intentional conversation. And that intention that you set out for your life, if you want to have a canvas with all of your past paintings and say, I want to do a new painting over my old paintings, it's going to look like utter shit. It's not going to be valid. So when we start talking about relationships and we start saying, like, y'all got to have hope and faith in these particular aspects. When we start talking about community, when we start talking about actually building with somebody, you got to have hope, faith, and the ability to acknowledge your triggers when you are triggered. Even if the nigga did some fucked up shit, why does your response have to be busting out his windows? Why does your response have to be negative? Why do you have to meet fire with fire? Do you know if you meet fire with fire, that creates more fire? Do you know when you meet fire with fire, things become more destructive? So we talking about my people. If I was a white YouTuber and I was speaking to a white audience, it would be a different conversation because 50% of us is already married. And I mean, it's fucked up, but we mostly married, right? If I was Indian, we would have a whole completely understanding in reference to Mitra. If we were Indian people and we were talking about Mitra, we would already be married. And we will already be setting up our rituals, giving honor to Mitra for bringing our relationship into our lives. And our relationship was goddamn arranged by our parents who studied our astrology charts and pre-matched us up. And they said, nigga, you don't know this person, so guess what you're going to have to do? Get to know this person and y'all not going to divorce. And we're going to give y'all principles and understanding. So when it came to this point, us being in a relationship, we could already deal with it. I can't even do that shit with niggas. Niggas, you got to really try to fight to bring niggas together again. Like, you can't even communicate the fact that fuck 50%. We need to be 80% or more married. Because these conversations, this world, nigga, this world is not built for individuals. And the fact that you're paying $2,000 for a studio should tell you that. Think about how easy it is when you put your money together. You get to save 50% of your income. Niggas will think, I ain't paying 50-50 with no nigga. What I look like? I'd rather pay 100% of my bills. Hood, I just don't feel like a man if I'm splitting bills with my woman. I literally want to be impoverished for my whole life, hood. I want to be living in poverty, hood. I just want to be a slave to my family, hood. I want the sun to come up, I go to work, and I don't want to come home until nighttime. I want to be so exhausted when I come home from work, I don't even want to eat, hood. I just want to go to sleep for a couple of hours, because when you work like that, you have a horrible sleep schedule. Right? I want to have a horrible sleep schedule, hood. I want to be fucked up mentally, right? But I'm working every day supporting my family. And you know what I want to be the kicker to be, hood? I want my family not to even appreciate my sacrifices, hood. Yup, hell yeah. I don't want to be in harmony or corporate cooperation in my relationship. When I say something in my household, hood, I want my family to ignore the fuck out of me. As long as I'm paying the bills, that's all I want them to worry about. I don't want them to honor my direction and my order, hood. Listen, when I come home, I want my wife to be complaining about all the work she had to do, taking care of the kids, right? Because I'm just working. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting my life at risk for my family. Hood. That ain't shit. That ain't nothing. Right? I like, that's what I want. Like, no. You can be in a toxic relationship right now. And you can be like, listen, I'm going to let this toxic shit go. And I'm going to focus more on harmony and cooperation. Either it can be with you or it can be with somebody else. I'm not about to be abused. And if you real with this shit, your wife or your husband wake up like tomorrow, like, you know what? I'm gonna go out and get a job, man. I see you paying all the bills by yourself. I don't want that for you. I love you. I'm about to go get a job. I'm telling you, it definitely can work like that. So let's summarize and understand and understand Anuradha from the deepest spiritual perspective so we could fully understand this new moon and this new moon energy. This is from Carl Nelson, and this is Anuradha, Lotus in the Mud. Lotus, because Anuradha symbol is a unfolding lotus, and the mud is representing Scorpio, which is kind of like a water earth mixture, right? But the mud is where the lotus, the deeper the lotus is in the mud, the more beautiful the bloom is. And this is a metaphysical fact. We're talking about lessons and wisdom. So the person with the most lessons is the person with the most wisdom. But you have to actively choose lessons versus feeling sorry for yourself. You have to be strong enough to do that. All right. So Anuradha resides in the heart of Scorpio, the sign most closely related to death and renewal, the reproductive act, and many other secretive and mystical natural processes. This also links Anuradha with things like alchemy, chakras, and raising Kundalini. So at a certain point, people will be like, man, I already talked about my chakras. I watched a video about chakras last week. I'm on chakra 17 Pro Max, hood. You just got the original Chakra Nova. I'm technologically advanced. I typed into AI what chakra, based on your observations, is unbalanced in me. It said that my throat chakra was unbalanced. So I asked it for some techniques and stuff. So I'm advanced with my chakra work. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't have to deal with the original. Now I say, all right, have fun with your Chakra 18 Pro Max on TikTok. 1 minute oversimplification of chakras. You've been there, done that. Interesting. Sounds good to me. I'm not about to argue with you either. Anuradha is symbolized by the lotus, which hints at its goal of blossoming through whatever mud one is raised in. So, my people, every time you see them, it's like this little scowl on their face. You like, bro, what's wrong? Nothing, man. I'm just having a bad day, man. I'm thinking about my goddamn cousin, man. Thinking about my damn granny, man. Why she have to go, man? She was 104, man. I knew she had 10 more good years in her, man. I miss my granny, man. She used to cook these butter biscuits, man. I'm just having a bad day, hood. I'm about to crash the fuck out, hood, because, man, I miss my granny. I miss my daddy, hood. I mean, he ain't never helped me or did nothing for me, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I miss him. I miss what could have been. You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying Anuradha is symbolized by a lotus. And the lotus don't give a fuck about the mud. See, we talking about actual factuals, but we're utilizing it as metaphysical principles that, if understood and overstood, you got to look at the bullshit you obsessing over, you possessed over, and stop doing it. The goal is to blossom through whatever. The goal is to make it through whenever. Anuradha is gifted at seeing through external facades to uncover universal truths. Working in conjunction with universal law, Anuradha's goal is the universal goal. People with strong Anurada tendencies like to form partnerships to achieve goals like Hasta. Anurada is affiliated with the will of Dharma, making sure it keeps moving and fulfilling the law. So Dharma is not in reference to your ego, what you obsessed with, what you thinking about, what's important to you. The will of Dharma is just going to keep moving. The ill part about dealing with grief is how the world don't give a fuck that you sad. You be like, please, world, just stop for one day, please. I'm just trying to get a grip. And it's like, look, you going for hop in or hop on or get the fuck out of here. We're gonna keep going. Because people be playing these songs for 2014, 2015. Be like, you don't know this song? This was a very popular song. This was like #1 song in the country. They was playing it everywhere. I'm like, I never heard it. You don't listen to Ariana Grande? I'm like, I never knew she put out music. She was like a big star. Demi Lovato? I'm like, who the fuck is Demi Lovato? I was wishing that the world was going to change. I don't even think I was listening to music. Shit was so dark. I think I was working at a job. They didn't even let you have motherfucking headphones or something. I was in a zone in them years. I don't know what the fuck was happening. Because when you in a dark place, you don't even think about Dharma. You thinking that your darkness is somehow going to be constituted by an external event and things is going to change for you. And I promise you, I sat there with some mushrooms doing Ganesha mantras, right? Because I was I had so many obstacles. I felt so trapped by my own thoughts, by my own emotions. Like I didn't see no way out of it. And it just was the darkest place that I've ever been. I had completely lost myself as I'm reflecting. Like person that you see today, in 2014, 15, I was completely lost. And the reason that I pulled myself, when I stopped feeling sorry for myself, and honestly, I'm telling you, for me, was the mushrooms and the mantras. Because I really believed that Ganesha was going to remove my obstacles. And I was willing to do as many mantras as it took. And I did them so much that I would trance into different, I realized, oh, this multi-dimensional world is real. Through the psychedelic journey at this particular time, I went so deep within myself that I literally seen a fire goddess speaking to me. And it wasn't my mind speaking to myself. It was something within me that was speaking to me. And it says specifically, I say this story a lot because it's true. And it's one of the most visceral experiences that I've ever experienced on the spiritual plane. It says specifically, don't forget where you came from, because you are about to ascend from this place and you're going to forget where you came from. But you need to remember that this spiritual stuff is real, because my ability to be so consistent in the spiritual realm is because I uplifted myself from the lowest place I can't even describe. And so wherever you at, there is something that you need to do right now in reference to what you need to do right now. Just do it. Do it with a hope and a faith that things are going to work out. Trust me when I say we are concluding a 9-year conclusion. That's been my word of the past 3 to 4 weeks. Let's conclude this shit. Let's bring this shit to an end, right? Because an ending is a new beginning, right? This cooperative tendency makes Anuradas very sympathetic to other. The idea of sympathetic law often extend into higher realms, causing interest in cosmic law of sympathetic vibration, giving them inherent skill in music, including identifying harmonies and learning to ring and sync with others. So sympathetic law is basically how you connect to people through your emotional frequency. Your emotional frequency is a natural harmony. You just have to open yourself up to it within yourself. Meaning that if you are a bass, you have to lock into the bass. If you are a soprano, you have to lock into a soprano. Your identification of your particular harmony, your particular path, in reference to how does this path interact with others? If you have a business and you're not even trying to serve your customers in a deep level, in a deep way, in a market, like in a get under their skin and satisfy them, you're not really trying to make it. Because everything you're doing, somebody else doing, and they probably doing it better. They got more money invested into what they even doing. So you better start identifying harmonies and learning to ring in sync with others. If you can connect with others in this particular moment, you can change your life. That's the caveat. So once again, it's easy to think about ascension, but the corroborating effects of ascension is building community and working with other people. Not being so butthurt that shit haven't worked out in the past. Under its influence, people notice deeper truths to life, feeling a sense of connectedness to the universal flow, gradually leading people to strengthen the primordial Kundalini flow up the chakras in the spine. And once again, this is something that we have been on for years. And we must continue to be on it because the last time I checked, y'all still have physical bodies. Last time I checked, y'all still have chakras that are imbalanced, unbalanced, or not activated. Last time I checked, if your chakras are not turned on, your intuition is not turned on, and you just hoping that you can find you a boyfriend that's going to love you. You just hoping you're going to find you a girlfriend that's going to love you. But you have not even taken your energy seriously. So once again, a lot of the work that I'm doing, I'm going over old material because I'm understanding that I had a lot of shit on my mind when I was reading it and I didn't catch it. So most of y'all have even bought Chakra Nova. Y'all don't even know where the book is at. It's on your bookshelf somewhere collecting dust. You just in the flow and you don't really know about your chakras and your energy centers. But I'm saying the book is there, is going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Click the link in the description. So let's move on to the card of the new moon. And I wanted to let me get out of here, give y'all a better picture, something y'all can see. That's not even what I need right there. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to find a good chart that we can all see. I was so distorted. Okay, this is a good one. So the first, let me make sure y'all can hear me. The first decan of Scorpio is ruled by the 5 of Cups. Okay, so I just want to show you, and this is a good practice for your chart to kind of get a sidereal chart from like AstroSeek or something. Chart like this. And see how the chart is laid out with the deacons, right? So all of this energy is in the first decan of Scorpio. So when you look on this chart, the first decan of Scorpio is ruled by the Five of Cups. You can begin to study that card to understand the energy of said first decan of the chart, because it is all connected and none of these things exist where they are just so disconnected from each other. But learning the connections brings a lot of insight. So in reference to the Five of Swords, the card on the left is he's trying to teach this woman how to swim, and she is afraid. She's afraid of drowning. She's afraid of drowning. And because she's afraid of drowning, it is ruining her ability to learn how to swim. And he is getting frustrated, like, girl, as much as you're afraid of drowning, you'll never learn how to swim. Right? The Five of Swords is the card of disappointment. And just to continue this theme of Anurata, when you think about the Five of Swords, many people view this card as a negative card or a bad card. But there are no bad cards, right? There are only cards that are focused in learning the lesson. And the lesson that this card is trying to teach is the lesson of disappointment. Whether you're talking about tarot, astrology, or Kabbalah, you are learning the natural flows of energy. And part of the natural flow of energy is a downward spiral. And this downward spiral is moving you to your root chakra. This downward spiral is moving you to your goddess energy. And your goddess energy is associated with your intuition. It is associated with your wisdom. Wisdom, right? Wisdom is Sophia. From an etymological point of view. Skill, knowledge, the acquaintance with, sound judgment, practical wisdom, cunning, shrewdness, philosophy. Sophia is wisdom personified. Greek for divine wisdom or holy wisdom, to which churches were dedicated. Now, once again, when we understand churches, we also have the 7 churches of Revelation: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. Laodicea, get your ass in this room and sit your ass down. Somebody got to name their daughter Laodicea. It won't be me, but somebody got to. Laodicea! Laodicea, sit down. All right, Laodicea, smart ass mouth. So these 7 churches of Revelation are also the 7 chakras. The 7 septenary forces, energy vortex that exists whether you study them or not, right? I got the Chakra 17 Pro Max hood. I don't need to do that old shit. You still doing regular chakra work, bro? You haven't advanced? Man, I did that chakra work years ago, man. Anyways, I'm about to crash out on my baby mama, man. I can't stand this bitch. Like, y'all got so advanced with the spirituality and the technology that you don't even need to do no foundational spiritual work, huh? And really, to conclude or to summarize all of this energy, because this was the first thing that I looked up, the Sabian symbol, 3 degrees, and I put it in Capricorn, but I meant to say in Scorpio, building a house, and it was like working together. I was like, man, fuck that shit, man. Don't nobody want to go through and I know because niggas don't want to hear this shit, man. Niggas don't want to work together. And I had to like start over again and do the research and build a conversation around something that is very uncomfortable. So really, I just want to summarize and conclude based upon what I was writing so it could be more concise. Very rarely does someone have positive experiences with others and prefer to be alone. Often, it's a single negative experience that leads us to think we're better off on our own. During this moment of dissension, seek wisdom from the experience that taught you what you needed to learn to move on. Another way to view this is as a baptism. As you ascend, you are reborn. Since Scorpio is a water sign and the moon is at its lowest point during this time of the year, we collectively find ourselves at a low point. However, the nature of the universe is to ascend. We can rise with the knowledge of the past without letting emotional barriers hinder our present. We are reborn through wisdom and lessons learned. And let us not forget that we are needed and we need others. If we are to rebuild our lives, we must incorporate others, acknowledging that while it may feel uncomfortable, it's a necessary step towards ensuring a better future for all of humanity. So, with that being said, that has concluded my new moon investigation in reference to intentions and rituals for the new moon that's taking place today, tonight. Make sure you do some journaling. Make sure you get clear on how you want this next 9 years to be. Where do you see yourself in 9 years? What is the community that you see yourself formulating and building with? If you can't find it externally, find it within yourself. Get in communion with yourself. Do Kundalini work. Do spiritual development work. Work with your candles. Work with your rituals. Get deep into your research. Search out the occult. Search out the things that are hidden. Don't rely on AI. Don't rely on AI. Don't rely on AI. Sorry, I started a little march. Anyways, trust in yourself. Trust in your spirit to move you towards the truth and towards your community. Understand you cannot do this thing by yourself. And with that being said, I just want to thank y'all for constantly rocking with me, supporting me, as I'm talking about things that basically nobody else is talking about, which can feel crazy a lot of times. But at the same time, I appreciate the audience who support. And I would imagine that you would listen to this channel because you gain something from it. Because that's my intention. That is my hope. That is my wishes. that you get closer to your soul to the point that it directs you and guides you to your next level up. With all that being said, this has been the New Moon in Scorpio 2025 edition. Be sure to check out my Substack. You can search for New Moon in Scorpio. By this point, get tons of free information, tons of free game. I even got a dope New Moon in Scorpio guided meditation you can check out on YouTube. But get into the energy, get into your ability to create your life and be reborn under the form of the goddess, all knowing and all providing. No matter what you have been through over these past 9 years, it has been a cycle that has come into an end, and now you get to live through a new cycle, a new rebirth, and you are conscious, right, from the inception of a new life path for yourself. So being conscious and accepting a new life path for yourself, you have all the power in the world. The only issue is you are going to factor your past, and that is the issue. If you are going to paint a new painting, please paint from an empty canvas. Ashe. And thank y'all for watching. And thank y'all for tapping in. Yes, it's a guided meditation for New Moon in Scorpio. Just search up Hood Mystic, New Moon in Scorpio, and it should pop up. And if not, I will attach it to this slideshow. And if you want access to this slideshow, visit and join the Substack. Link is in the description. With all of that being said, hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will catch y'all all on the flip side. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective, and if you need anything, hit me up on Instagram at The Hood Mystic. Cash App is $Hood Mystic 38. Any donation helps and supports the movement moving forward. I appreciate all of y'all support, all of y'all likes, subscribes, all of that. Sharing the video. It does not go into a spot where it's not appreciated. And I'm so grateful for y'all for what this platform has allowed for me to do over the years. So with all that being said, thank y'all, and I will catch y'all all on the flip side. Peace.
How you feel?
Feel good.
What we talking about? Real shit or we talking about rhyme? You talking about millions or you talking about mine? What we talking about?
Yo, bust it.
Look at you!
Ain't got no pens on, I ain't got no pens on the dance floor. I ain't got no pens on, ain't got no pens on, I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.